It was cold, it was miserable, there were no girls, it was an all-male crew and cast. It was horrible. And it got pretty cold up there.
And you and Kurt had worked so much before and worked so much afterwards. What is it like for you two to work together? Do you have a shorthand, or do you have to say anything?
Don't really have to say much with Kurt. He's an enormously talented actor. He comes from Disney training. By that I mean, he had to know word perfect the script. He had to hit his marks. The script supervisor would cut if he was off word. So he is one of the most trained actors I've ever worked with. We became friends when we met on a movie called Elvis, and we worked together several times since then, and are still friends. So,
What draws you to a project normally? Where is your mind? How you find any of your films? What normally is the first step?
paycheck is good. Well, it's always a story, and I'm always looking to do something different I haven't done before. Back when I was made the thing, I had only done my own films, independent movies, and then this was the first studio film I ever did, and this was the biggest budget I ever worked with. And the movie tanked when it came out, by the way. It was hated by fans. I lost a job. People hated me. They thought I was this horrible, violent, and I was. But now here we are, 31 years later, and here you are filling the theater. It's really great. Did you hear that?
And working with Dean Cundy on this, he's amazing the way he shot.
Yeah.
What's your shorthand? How do you deal with each other when you're filming?
Well, let's put the camera here. Let's put a 35mm lens on it. How do you want to like this, Dean? That's about it.
How was your views on this film? Has it changed throughout? Because it started out, it wasn't a success, and now anytime we show it, it is just packed houses, and it's now in all kinds of lists in the top 5 horror films of all time. Has your relationship with the film changed at all?
My relationship with the film?
Your own views on it?
My views, well, I haven't watched this movie. I don't watch my own films anymore. Well, no. I've seen it enough. I'm delighted that the movie still works for audiences. And some of the pain is gone from the old days. I'm more mature now, and I accept these things. But I'm very proud of the thing. It was a tough movie to make. Storytelling-wise, cinematic storytelling was difficult. We had so many characters. And really, this is a movie about the end of the world. So, for those of you who haven't seen it, it does not have a real happy ending. And it has what a lot of audiences cannot stand, which is an ending that has no real conclusion. It's ambiguous. Now, I do know, in the end, who the thing is, but I cannot tell you.
Now, you've made so many masterpieces, and so many of your films seem to be getting remade again and again, sometimes needlessly. What are your views on that happening?
There are 2 kinds of remakes of my movies. I prefer one. When the studio, like the Universal-owned material, The Thing, when they remade the movie, I got a lunch. There's another kind of remake of my movie. I've written the material and generated it myself. I sit back on my couch and extend my hand. Right there. And they go off and do all this work and go through all this pain. And I cash this check. All my life, I have tried to make a living out of doing nothing. And that's the closest I can get to it.
And I'm a big fan of all of your music and the Halloween or Escape from New York. Do you have a personal favorite score that you've written?
Oh, I really like the score to both Prince of Darkness and Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, I really like.
I'm going to open up, because I know you're all huge fans in that question, so right there.
I'm John Carpenter. Thank you for doing this for us. I'm a geek for the process, and I think your movies really have a great knack of pacing. And I think if you can make a great movie about fog with great pacing, that really kind of shows your talent. So I wanted to ask you to enlighten us on how you the marriage between directing and editing to get that pacing pretty much in all your movies.
He's talking about the marriage between directing and editing and how he gets that pacing in all his films.
Man, that's the first thing you do is when you finish shooting the movie, the editor cuts it together and you see if it works. And most of the time, it's the most depressing experience imaginable. You look at the screen and you say, what is this piece of shit that I just But then you start to work on it. And in my philosophy is try to make it go as fast as you can. You don't want to chop scenes out that destroy your narrative, but make it as brisk as possible. And just keep working on it until it starts to come alive. There's an old saying in the movie business, if you have a bad film, given enough time in the editing room, you can make a fair film. You have a fair film, given enough time in the editing room, you can make a pretty good film. On and on and on. It's all about how much time you have. And you can keep working and keep working. Sometimes you go back and reshoot, clarify things or make things speed up. But there are no rules. You just go at it.
Thank you.
Right there. Jim.
Yeah. You mentioned the ambiguous ending thing, and I was wondering, since this was your first studio movie, did you get resistance from the studio or from test audience or anything like that?
Big time. The question was that it's an ambiguous ending. Did I get resistance from the studio and test screenings? Yes, I did. And the studio really, they asked me to cut the movie, drop out the final scene,